Hi guys, it's Sharon Hall here. I've just decided that I'm going to do some videos to help everyone out with their Asian styles. I've had a few requests from some of the staff that like to learn, and of course given our COVID times I haven't been able to get around to deliver that learning and give you guys a bit of an idea of how that works. So today I've borrowed one of my girlfriend's poodles. She's been growing them out from a lamb trim. As you can see, she's already got the long legs. The little face is starting to grow out so we can get a little bit of an Asian look to her, and her feet have been growing out as well. So we, of course, with the Asians, need to have long feet. You can do a little poodle foot and try and hide it all underneath that coat, but ideally it's to make them look like, I guess, the bottom end of a baseball bat. So they're nice and thick at the bottom and they come right to a narrow point at the top. Okay, so starting with the body, we're going to take that down nice and short. Typically with the Asian style of grooming, we have the bodies nice and short, the legs remain long, and we have a nice little character face. So bodies are short, so we can put little dresses and things on them and it doesn't interrupt their coat growth and you're not causing tangles and issues. So we're going to do a 5-blade on Elvira today. And we're just going to take this whole body down the same length with the 5, leaving the legs. The main thing to remember when you're trimming the coat, so we can accentuate these legs, is we need to pinch these elbows in. So when you're using the clipper, bring it right down to the elbow, clean out the front of that leg so you're exposing the front shoulder, and of course under the armpits can be shaved. Lessens the chance of knots, and if they're wearing little jackets and coats, they're not going to get all matted up in there. And that helps you to get your narrowing of the top of your leg. In the rear, we're going to clean up this whole back thigh, almost like a schnauzer leg. You come down the back end and clear out into your hop and straight off. I'm just blending straight off that thigh muscle. So that's going to allow us a nice short top so we can bell out the bottom of the leg. So just a quick recap. We've done the body nice and short with a 5-blade. We've blended off our thigh into our long legs and again down into our elbow, tapering it so it's nice and tight at the top. Now to get a nice little foot, you want to make sure you shave your pads out really well, and to do so, this little one has already had hers mostly shaved. Make sure you shave around the edges as well. That way it'll make it easier when you come to scissoring your little round foot. Nothing will hit the ground. So nice and tidy on the pads. Front and back. Just taking those edges off. Save me scissoring later. It's also a really handy trick with all of your pet dogs. It lessens the chance of cutting a pad with your scissors once you get all that hair off with a pair of clippers. Okay, so once your pads are nice and clean, now I'll just tell everyone I've bathed this dog twice and I've really given it a good shampoo in some cleansing shampoo. We want this coat nice and clean as well as nice and dry. So she's been force dried, and then I've taken my slicker brush with the heat of a stand dryer and really stretched that coat out. It's really the key on these Asian legs to try and get that hair to sit where you want it to sit. So it's dried right from the roots, nice and straight. And every single last bit of it was dried that way. It takes a little bit of extra time, but it's the only way to get a great result. Okay, madam, stand up for me. So just then I came in and I scissored around the front of my little pads. I'm a little bit restricted in the fact that she's growing out some poodle feet, but I've been able to take off the front. She's got a little dip in here, but we'll just ignore that. Put a little foot down, comb up, take the front of that down to meet where I've scissored to, and we'll try and get a nice little bevel at the bottom here. You don't want anything to hang over the back of your pad. You don't need to see. Once I've cleaned up the bottom of my foot, I'm going to take this top hair and blend it to my short area. So I'm going to come in and I'm just keeping my scissors at a little bit of an angle so they're facing out as if you're coming around a pyramid. I'm just going to clean all of that hair that's sitting outside of my short area. Combing it up, and again, there's not a lot of angulation put into our Asian grooms. They're sort of a little bit more round and cylindrical without sort of identifying knees and hocks and things like that that make most of our profile grooms what stands out. And these guys are very animated, like cartoon drawings, so everything's rounded. And of course you have to work from every angle, so once you do the side, you're going to come in and check what's going on in the inside leg. Again, I'm just going to make a little triangle. So we're coming down this side and down this side, and we're leaving it a little bit heavier at the bottom. It's always handy to have a good dog to work on when you're scissoring like this. Especially one that's not shaking and trying to play with you the whole time. So you can see there, that back leg, it's nice and tidy up the top. We're coming down into our nice big bevel at the bottom. So there's your difference there. We'll move to the front leg. Now I haven't done my complete finish on that back leg yet. I'll show you how to get a nice finish on that in a minute. Front leg. This one's a little bit more difficult, I find tricky because of the angle you have to bring your scissor in, and normally the bottoms of your scissors are a little bit too large, so using a smaller set of scissors is definitely the way to go. It can be done with larger scissors, you just need to make a few more scissor cuts, and you perhaps might have to turn your scissors onto the side at times, but the goal is to get this length here nice and short down and bevel to the bottom. So I'm just bringing my scissor in. I'll show you from the front here. I'm just bringing my scissor in at that angle and tapering it right down. And this is where it gets tricky because I just can't seem to get in. So I'm going to pick up a small pair of scissors. These have got a funky little curve on them, which I'm going to pretend isn't there and use for straight scissoring. I'm just going to take a little bit more effort. Just to get into that corner. Scarlett, can I get you to come here for a minute? Just get my assistant quickly to hold this dog's head. Just, yeah, that'd be good. So I can pick her leg up. I don't want her toppling over. Brushing all the hair up. And again, pointing my scissor into that elbow, keeping my angle out so I'm not taking off too much of this hair at the foot. I'm just going to come all the way around that leg. On the inside as well. want to keep that nice and tight in the elbow. So feel free to take that down nice and short. Thanks. Depending on how much coat you start with, you may have to whittle for a little while. Now you can see I've got separation of my foot and what's happening up here from her previous haircut. So I'm just going to try and tighten this little toe up. Come on, sweetie. It's always good to have their nails cut beforehand so you can get them in as tight as you can. Come on. Stand back up for me. That's a girl. She's probably been growing out for about 6 to 8 weeks now. Might be a fraction longer, just to give you a bit of an idea of how long it's going to take for your feet to grow out if you're growing out your poodle feet. And of course, when I blow dried her, I really focused on straightening those so they weren't so curly and I could get a nice soft plush look to them. Right, I'll work on the other side quickly and then we'll come back to our finish. Okay, so now we'll get to our finish. Use a nice thin tooth comb is ideal. You want to get in there, you'll see there's absolutely no restriction in my hair here. It's really well groomed out and I'm just fluffing using a conditioning spray. I'm going to give it a little bit of a spritz. That just helps hold the hair in place. It's really important not to comb after you've spritzed because you're going to put that water back in the coat and you're going to twist the coat and get it curly again. So once you've sprayed, I've made the floor all slippery for her. I'm just going to come along. I'm sorry, Bubba. And take all the really fine edges off. You can see the fine edges that I'm just taking off there, just to give me that nice little plush finish. And again, I'm not going to recomb because the comb's going to take that liquid back into the coat and we really want to keep it nice and straight. It's not until the coat's dry that I then recomb and I might fluff again. So again, we'll do the front leg. I'm just going to brush everything up. So when she's running around the backyard with her sister, she's going to have these flyaway bits sticking out. I'm going to spritz and then I'm going to scissor off anything that's poking out. Keeping my scissors nice and level on the coat, so I'm not reshaping, I'm just taking those little tips off. And that's how you're going to get your nice finish. Make sure you hold your scissors nicely, you're not bouncing them back and forth because you're just going to put big divots all through your coat. It's a good practice, this one, just to try and keep your scissors steady. And I'll move on to the other side and we'll meet you back here for the head. Okay, so now we're going to our heads. Hope you can all see all right there. This is we're going to do what I call a Britney head. And I call it a Britney head, you'll see soon, because it has the little pom-poms, and Britney Spears is really what I feel they look like afterwards. We're going to keep into the Asian theme, so basically we're keeping the eyes really prominent. We're going to keep the muzzle nice and wide, a little bit of fluff over the nose. We don't want to skin this nose right down. They generally have a short chin because this is all about hygiene as well, so we don't need any of that hanging in their food bowl. Cheeks are also kept nice and short with the Asian trims, so we're going to be taking those down nice and short, and I'm going to leave 2 little bobbles up the top. We're going to cut back the fringe so she's got a nice little pillow in front, and we might even do some tassels on the ears. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to pull the coat forward and just clean the corners of the eyes. So the very, very corner in here, just to make sure she's got a view and she can see out of those nice big eyes that she's got. So just that little corner there, I've just taken that little bit out, okay? And you'll see now. I'm going to fit and finish off my clipper work on this head. So knowing that I'm going to be taking this chin down nice and short, I'm just going to leave myself a little handlebar at the front. Take her throat down. Behind her head, I'm going to actually separate this and put 2 little pom-poms in here. So anything that's behind her head is going to come off short like the body with the 5 blade. So I'm just going to find where I want that to start, which is going to be at the corner of where the ears end. I'm going to pop my 5 blade in there. And take that off just to give me a bit of a guideline. And you'll see that. There might be some more trimming after the head's finished. Leave those there. I'm going to separate this into about a third. So normally where you would see that little cowlick and the fringe falls forward and everything else falls back, that's what I'm going to leave at the front, and then I'm going to divide this back section into 2. I might need my little helper scarlet just to hold a chin for me. Thank you. I'm going to take this hair that's sitting over her ears there. And I'm going to band it. You can see I've got a portion in here that I've just banded. And we'll get the next portion. Up a bit higher there. She's got a heavy head, hasn't she? Just hold that down like that so I can feel what I'm doing. Okay, and there's that one in. So I've got my 2 little bands. You can see that? All right, thank you. This front portion, did you like her? I'm going to cut into a nice little teddy shape. So the front fringe is going to open the eye up. Just coming straight over the front. Anything that's hanging in front of those eyes there, it's going to come off. Not going to forget to go around the corners to open up the side vision. I'm going to take this cheek right down to the corner of the eyes. You can do this with clippers or scissors. But I'm staying away from this hair that's between the eyes and the nose. That we're going to call our little muzzle. And we're going to separate our muzzle from our head. Good girl. As I said, you can do it with clippers. I like to use scissors because it leaves it nice and plush. anything in front of the ear is classified as cheek. And we're taking that down nice and short. Just to the corner of the eye. Remember, we're leaving the muzzle. Right, now we've got a little pillow in the front here. We're going to shape. So she's got a nice little soft appearance at the front. You can see her little pom-poms are poking up the back there. We're going to trim those up and give them a nice little shape as well. Come back here, darling. She's such a pretty little colour, this one. So this little front section, you want a little bit shorter than you would normally do a top knot. So you can make a separation between your little pom-poms at the back. You want them to sit above make it look like she's got little ears at the back there. Hey. Typically on your Asian dogs, their little beards, moustaches, mows are wider than their eye set. So they like to keep them quite large and quite wide. You don't really want them narrowing in as you'd normally see on a poodle. You want to keep them nice and fluffy. This one's growing out from a poodle face, so there's not a great deal of hair on it. And to help pull that hair out, use a nice thin tooth comb. You can also use a little bit of hairspray on your comb, which I might get my lucky assistant to bring me the hairspray she was holding, and I'll just give you a quick demonstration on how that works. A little bit of hairspray sprayed directly onto the comb just helps to grab when you pop it in and pull the hair out. It helps to place that hair where you want it, so when you come to scissoring, it's already sitting up and out. See how that makes a big difference? You don't want to get too much hairspray on your comb because it does get a bit tacky and it's a bit hard to get through the coat. So you need to wash your comb once you've been using a lot of hairspray on it, just so that can remain clean and you can get it back through the coat. Okay, so here we're going to, as I said, I'm pulling that coat up and out, and I'm going to use some little curved scissors just to come in. Oh, these ones aren't working at the moment. We'll use the bigger ones. Come in and round off our little muzzle and give her a nice little plush look. So I'm just cleaning up where she can see, taking that down a little bit for her. Cleaning up along the lip line, so nothing's hanging below the lip line, because remember we're going to take this chin down nice and short in a second, but at the moment it's my handlebar. You don't want to be getting rid of that yet. You can narrow down there in the eye a little bit just to open that up and bring that separation in. And then we repeat on the other side. Clean up the lip line. The last thing I trim is my little chin hair, because I'm really going to use that to help me shape everything. You don't want anything to sit past your nose, so make sure you pull all that hair forward and trim anything that sticks out there. Also helps to give you a nice little round look at the front. Fiddle in here. I'm really going to separate this little area here under the eyes so we can make that little muzzle pop. Needs a wee little bit more growth, but it's looking cute. Okay, these little guys here, the easiest way to shape them is to pick them up, twist them at the top, and chop. And of course you get a nice little round bomble. One. Just about making sure that they're both even. They look pretty good. You've got to find all your little wispy hairs that you might have missed. It's a real art to try and catch everything. Behind the head where we did a little bit of work, I'm just going to scissor off anything that's outside that we didn't manage to get into our little bobbles. And on the other side, to keep it neat and tidy from behind. And of course you can leave the ears as they are, which I think are pretty cute. Or we can go ahead and, I wonder, go ahead and tassel them. So what I might do is finish off this beard. We're taking it right down, clean this right up. I might even shave this little lip line because she's got cute little black lips there. A little bit of staining that we don't need, so that can come off. Okay, you're going to hold your head still. So you could either just trim the ear around and give it a little bit of fluffiness. It's all about making it round and marshmallowy, I think. Marshmallowy. Which I'm kind of liking. I don't think I'll do the tassel. Yeah, it suits you, doesn't it? So again, I'm just trimming around. And then anything that wants to poke out, and blend it around. It's really fun. You kind of create it as you go. I think that's the greatest thing and why everybody loves the Asian trims so much. And the fun part is you can then dress them up. Can't go anywhere at the moment, but you can dress them up. Okay, and the tail. Tail, of course, is one of those other optional things. I see a lot of tails that come down very short. I like to just leave a little tiny bit of coat on the tail, just to give them something to wag around. So for her, I'm going to take it right to the tip and trim it off. And then I'm going to fluff it all up. And give her back a little pom-pom. That'll match what's happening at the front where everything's a bit Britney-like. Now I actually have no idea what the correct name of this style is, or even if it has one. This is just when I'm referring to it in my salon. When it comes to trimming, we had one, I think she lived in this trim for about 8 or 9 years, and the owner absolutely loved it, and she came in every 4 weeks, and she always had a band still in, and there was absolutely no issues. The mother had a great time with all the people that would meet and greet her and say how beautiful she looked, so it was really quite funny to watch. So that's what my version of the Britney trim looks like. Hope you've all enjoyed that. I'm going to find a little dress to put her in and I'll show you all what it looks like. Thank you. Okay, so you can see why people absolutely love the Asian trim. I mean, once you dress them up, it just gives them that little bit of a human, cute, absolutely adorable, cartoonish look, and everybody loves them.